Our message is one of love. Love is, we understand it is an abused, empty word for so many. Mhm. But why is it so overused, so redundant, so prevalent still in the culture? Because it is the one thing that everyone wants above all other things, is to give and receive love. It's very simple. This is the desire of the human race to give and receive love. So we are here not to talk to your audience or yourselves about love. We are here to bring you into a personal, undeniable experience of the energy called love.
Hey, everybody. Our mission here at the Heart Coherence Collaborative is to get people in touch with the healing power of the heart.
And we really need your help. Right now, only 1% of viewers subscribe. We are aiming to take that number to 6%.
The reason why we want to do that is the more people that subscribe, the more people in the world can learn the magical practice of heart coherence.
So please help us out. If you've ever listened, if you love this message, please just take a moment to subscribe.
Thank you so much.
We love. Welcome everyone to the Heart Coherence Collaborative. We are so excited to have Anjie Hipple with us today. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Kyle and Leah. It's good to be here.
Yeah, so we'd love to just start out by getting to know you and what your story is. You have a very interesting story about the timing of and when you started channeling, which is more recently. So I'd love to hear a little more about your childhood and what you were in terms of religion or spirituality, and then how you have this experience of coming to be a channel.
Thank you. Well, I was raised in my home life up till about the age of 7. Neither of my parents had any sort of spirituality or expression in religion or anything and when I got to be about 7, I began to ask my mom questions about life and why is the sky blue and those kind of questions that kids ask. And so my mom reverted back to what she knew, which was her Christian upbringing from a small rural Baptist church in North Carolina. And she began to take me to church at that age. And I had some pretty profound experiences very young with, with this beautiful being that I perceived and understood to be Jesus. And they were pretty amazing and clear and direct and personal. And over time, my dad eventually came into the Christian faith with my mom and eventually became a pastor. So I was a preacher's kid
Oh.
as a young woman and a teenager. And so I followed this fundamentalist Christian tradition for many years. I probably read the Bible cover to cover several times in my lifetime, and even I'm sure once at least when I was a little girl. And when I had a real relationship with the divine in the context of that, and then a lot of other, gross stuff and good stuff, layered onto that as well. So it was a mixed bag, but definitely a lot of confining, limiting beliefs, in that whole package. And as an adult, when I married and began raising kids in the church, still in that fundamentalist Christian tradition, I started experimenting a little bit, wanting more freedom from the denominationalism that I was in. So I was trying on the charismatic tradition and the prophetic world and prophecy and speaking in tongues. I was trying on all these different things. I was mostly attracted to the life and the vibrancy of music and dance and all of that in the charismatic tradition. So I wound up in a Hillsong type environment, in a megachurch environment, and all along those years, I taught school, was raising my 3 kids, and I also was a worship leader in this mega church that we were in, and loved to travel and sing and lead worship. That was kind of my shtick and my side hustle. I made several records. And in my 40s, I hit this series of unfortunate events, like happens, I think, to a lot of us when we get to be about that age, midlife crisis or whatever you want to call it. My dad died suddenly. And at the time, I was, as I said, teaching school. I had 3 kids. I was also singing and volunteering at my church a lot. My dad died suddenly, and he owned a business a couple of hours away from my home. And so it fell to me as the only child to try to make sense of all the business. And there were several families that were being supported by it. And so I jumped in to try to do a big rescue as the only child. And
Mhm.
um, there was embezzlement happening. There was all kinds of crazy things going on. And I was running back and forth trying to spin all my plates and hold it all together, this 2-hour drive. And my marriage started falling apart. And, just everything came undone that could come undone. It was beautiful as well. It was my awakening. It was, I just had this sense of a freedom that was coming to me that I would find with all these changes. And so it was very hard, very stripping, very intense, but beautiful all at the same time. So I kind of liken it to awakening to, and I think a lot of your audience will relate to this. It's like you're at a party and everybody's drunk and you're drunk, and all of a sudden you get sober and you look around and you think, wait a minute, what is going on here? What am I doing here? This is not fun. Let me out of this whole thing. So I started really, questioning everything I'd been taught, what I believed, what wasn't working for me, allowing myself to rethink everything. I took a really, for me, what was scary moves to start reading enlightened masters, read the Bhagavad Gita and the Tao Te Ching. Those were big no-nos in my tradition. And I allowed myself to put the Bible away and close the door on my relationship with the church, which was very lonely also as well, because I lost that sense of support and community that I'd had, and just embarked on a whole new journey. I met my new partner. We've been together many years now, and he was very instrumental in all kinds of change for me. He was the exact opposite of everything that I had known. He was a diehard meditator of about 40 years, and had been on a really focused spiritual journey and in more of the tradition that we're in now. And so several years into our relationship, really intense ego stripping, I hit a wall when I got sick with COVID. It was early on before vaccines and all that. I got it almost right away, and I had some debilitating side effects from it. So I was sick for 2 years, which was really unusual for me because I'd been a very healthy person. And a couple years in, I began to lose hope that the situation might change and that I might get better. So again, still spending a lot of time meditating, reading enlightened masters, facing what was inside of me, buying the truth, you know, um, about what wasn't working. I began to just allow. I learned this to allow what was happening. Okay, maybe I'm going to be sick the rest of my life and sit in the chair. Maybe I'll get well. Whatever it is, I receive and accept whatever it is. Whoever you are out there, I don't know for sure anymore exactly like I thought I did all along. I don't know. So whoever and whatever is out there, I surrender. Not my will, yours be done. So a lot of power stripping and humbling. All my roles got stripped away. I wasn't teaching school anymore. I couldn't really fulfill my wifely or motherly duties because of my health. Everything I was attached to just stopped. And I was a kind of a big nothing, a big blank slate. So about that time, one evening, Chuck and I were watching a beautiful channeler named Wendy Kennedy. And Chuck had introduced me to channelers early in our relationship. They were a part of his spiritual learning and growth. And coming out of that Christian mindset, when I would watch it, I would think, oh, this is crazy. This is witchcraft. This is dangerous. What is this? These were the kind of things I had been subtly subtly impressed upon me, in Christianity. But because I was in love with Chuck and he was so cute, you know how that goes.
Yeah.
I was willing to kind of be open. But I found over time that some of these channelers had such profound practical messages of wisdom. Their insight was really revolutionary. It was helpful. And so I had eventually opened up to the value of a lot of this channeling. So one night we were sitting down together on the couch watching or channeling like we do sometimes. And it wasn't like something on my bucket list that I wanted to do. It was just something I appreciated at that point. And Chuck looked at me and he said, you could do that. You could do what Wendy's doing. And at that point, what I did know, it was stupid for me to say no to anything because everything I thought worked hadn't worked out so well. So I was like, okay, yeah, okay. So that night when I went to bed, I had this profound metaphysical experience that it was, too wild really to, it was just off the charts. I got up the next morning and began to type up what the experience and what had happened. And as I did that, more information began coming. And I was told, I asked, who is this that's visiting me? We are Judah. We are an angelic collective. And they began giving more information about themselves. So that night when Chuck came home from work, I read to him what I'd typed up. I said, I guess this is it. I guess I'm channeling these beings, these angels named Judah. What do we do? So we sat down to meditate, which we do a lot anyway, and this huge voice came through. And right before they came through, they smiled my face, my like just a huge smile. I couldn't quit smiling. They were smiling my face. And I felt this really strong, like a battery drill sensation going between my eyebrows, and this big, beautiful voice, and this powerful messages, and Chuck and I just fell in love with these beautiful angels. So this became our nightly routine to get to know them and speak to them and ask them questions. And, within short order, we began just publishing it to the world. And now we have a global family all over the world. And I just paused, what was going on, which wasn't much at that time, and began this brand new journey. And I was healed instantly after that first channel. A few hours after the first channel, I said, wait a minute, I'm okay. I feel great. And I literally was completely healed from the energy that they brought through.
Wow. Could you tell us a little bit more about the angels?
Sure. Well, so their focus is they are from the angelic realm. They are created by Source, by God, our Father, Mother, God. Most of them, the vast majority of them, have never been incarnated in a body, just their own angelic light body. There's 350,000 of them. It was a long unfolding over time, developing the relationship to understand, why me and all of that. But basically, over time, they helped me to understand that I am one of them. They are my higher self. They are my soul family. And I incarnated to the earth as an angelic soul from the Judah family to have the experience of being human. So it sounds a little cheesy to say, and my kids and husband would say, "Oh, she's not that angelic, you know." But basically, I'm an angelic soul from that family. So they have a very specific focus, and the focus is to help people that are in an awakening and enlightenment process to go all the way from that moment of awakening to their fully enlightened state. So that's what they're really all about. This is very important to them. They have core teachings that they are constantly reiterating. So the first time I ever did an official session for someone, when I hung up, I thought, oh no, this is the wrong thing for me to be doing, because the precious one, she wanted me to give her the lottery numbers, the winning numbers for the lottery.
Oh.
And she wanted to get Judah to give her information about the married man she was having an affair with, and
Oh.
tell her it was okay to do that. So when I hung up the phone, I was like, oh no, what have I done? This is not the right shtick for me or Judah. What are we going to do here? But over time, as people get to know us, they come with the biggest open hearts to grow, to let us help them clear their stuck places and to move on in their journey.
That's funny. When you are experiencing this, you talked a little bit about the first experience. What is happening for you? Are you hearing a voice that you're then repeating? Is it a masculine, a feminine voice? How does everything happen for you internally? How do you experience it?
Well, it's just very seamless and effortless for me. Like I can hear Judah talking now in the background. I think the channeling process is a lot more natural and subtle than people think. It's simply, I like to think of it as two clouds in the sky. If Leah's a cloud and Kyle's a cloud, and they meet together in the sky, and then they become one for that time, and then will merge back out from one another and then come together again. And so I merge with Judah, and we just join our consciousnesses together, just like as a husband and wife or a partnership, you can even kind of read each other's thoughts. Sometimes I'll be thinking, I wish Chuck would bring me my wallet, and he's already walking into the room with my wallet in his hand.
Mm.
So channeling really, for me, it's a communion. It's a communion of two consciousnesses. I'm just joining my personal spirit, the spirit that animates my body and gives me life. I'm joining that part of me to another soul or another consciousness. In this case, we've given, for simplicity and understanding's sake, the name of Judah, but basically Judah they are just an aspect of Source. They are an aspect of the Christ consciousness. And so the process for me is really simple. I just feel my energy level rise. I feel the vibration rise. I have a sense of things that they're wanting to say. They're just very gentle thought impressions. But the way I distinguish their thought impressions as being different from just Angie's, is that they're light, they're bright, they're full of energy and life and joy and vitality and wisdom, and I suddenly am smarter than who I really am, because of that joining in with them.
Mm.
Yeah. And sometimes it feels like physically, I might get really hot.
Mm.
I might feel vibration, a lot of vibration. There could be all kinds of different sensations going on,
Wow.
depending on what entity I'm channeling.
What are some of the most profound messages they've brought through?
Judah? Well, let's just let them bring it through, if that's okay.
Let's do it.
do it.
Yes, yes, dear. We want to tell you what is important to us. What is important to us is what is important to you, not just to the character you, the personality you, but the soul you. For the soul you is longing to see you fill your big cosmic shoes, seeing you grow into the majesty, the inheritance that you have been given, the light that you are, expanding yourself. What is important to us is to help you take out the trash that is weighing you down, the ways of thinking, perspectives, super debilitating, dense, lower energies of this earth. The subconscious lies that were imprinted on you by well-meaning but ill-advised people, places, things, organizations, locations, media outlets, and so on. We want to help you slip these off. We are like the gentleman at the coat closet who checks your coat when you're coming in from the cold. He slips it off of your arms and hangs it up in the closet. This is what we are here to do, to slip off, to so gently remove different identities, attachments, thought processes, pain, body experiences that are heavy, weighty, a burden to your soul. Take those off so that you can move more freely, be more of who you really are. We're here to support you in doing what it is you want to do. We're here to cheer you on and say, yes, yes, yes to what you want to do, what you want to be, and remove the things that are cumbersome to you. Our message is one of love. Love is, we understand it is an abused, empty word for so many. But why is it so overused, so redundant, so prevalent still in the culture? Because it is the one thing that everyone wants above all other things, is to give and receive love. It's very simple. This is the desire of the human race, to give and receive love. So we are here not to talk to your audience or yourselves about love. We are here to bring you into a personal, undeniable experience of the energy called love. This love is transformative. You see a baby that comes into the world, into his parents' arms or her parents' arms, does not need to be taught how to love. It comes already with the equipment, with the inbuilt soul strategy and understanding of how to give and receive love. It simply looks in its mother's eyes and drinks its mother's milk and drinks in the love as effortlessly as it drinks in its mother's milk. And so all of you come into this life in your perfected, enlightened, masterful state of understanding how to be at peace and give and receive love in perfection, without doubt, without questioning. And so things have happened to each and every one of you, however, to talk you out of this beautiful, innocent state of mastery. And these are layers upon layers of impressions in your thoughts, emotions, and your physical body. We are here to remove the constructs of limitation and lack so that you can be your beautiful, perfect self. We are here to love the unloved and unlovable. Our love is consistent, it is profound, it is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days of the year. We know you better than you know yourself. We are able to hold in mind the truth of every part of you, your deepest, blackest darkness and selfishness, and your most divine and perfect aspects as well. And we can hold all of those things in space and time at the same moment with complete love and no judgment whatsoever. And this is one of the primary tasks of enlightenment, that we teach you 100% love and acceptance of all parts of the self, not just the good parts, not just the lovely parts, not just the spiritual parts, not just the wise parts, but the foolish, the selfish, the detrimental, the hurting, all of those parts as well. And as we express our love to you, you may begin then to believe that you are okay and everything you are experiencing is okay. Whatever you experience is okay. You're okay. And so what we present is unique and different for every unique and different individual who has their own unique perception or perspective of life and belief systems. Many are common to all, but for each one, for each one, there is a tried and true and perfect path to unfold. And the unfolding is within always. No one has all the keys to the kingdom for your path, but you. The keys have been put into your hands. They are in your hands. And it is for you to unlock for yourself everything you want to experience and to lock away what you no longer desire and want. So much of what we do is only to help you make sense. There might be 30, 40, 50 keys on your ring. Many of you are here watching this show, and you watch many others like this because you are searching for the key to unlock the door to something that you want, that is lacking, is missing in your pursuit of happiness. And you're also searching for the key, a key to close the door on things that you don't want to have in your life anymore. And in truth, you will find these keys. You will find them here, and you will find them in other places where you need them. We are only here to accelerate the process for you with wisdom and insight. When you are holding 30, 40, 50, 100 keys in your hand, we will point to the one you most need in the moment and say, this is the one. This is the one. Try this one. It will unlock this for you. Mm-hmm.
Mm.
How can we use our emotional guidance system, knowing that sometimes things that are good don't feel good, and the other way around?
Good. Well, your emotions are your energy in motion, and they are the reflection of the energies and frequencies going on, not just in you, but outside of you. Yeah, so I'll respond to this a little bit, just still also listening and staying connected with Judah. One of the things I've learned, emotions for me personally were difficult, were challenging because I was extremely sensitive. I still am very, very sensitive. And so one of the things I learned right away with Judah's assistance is to always ask, Judah, is this my emotion or someone else's? So especially for people that are in this spiritual space and really open to the others' dimensions, we have a tendency we're always interacting with different fields of consciousness. So just like I merged with Judah's field of consciousness in this moment and sharing in that unity with them. But we're always bumping into and interacting with fields of consciousness all day long, all the time. You know, when we're scrolling on our feed, we're tapping in instantly to all these different fields of consciousnesses. When we're at the store or at work or interacting with our family. So there's a constant entanglement all the time with different energies. So one of the things I learned to do is to ask, is this, let's say the emotion is sadness. Last night I was feeling some sadness. And so I asked Judah, is this my sadness? I got a no. Is this so-and-so's sadness? No. Is this my child's sadness? Yes. Okay. So then I'm able to dial in. I know that my child, who's not in the physical space with me, at that moment, but yet I'm connected to that field in some way because of our relationship, and I could feel his sadness. So I was experience the emotion as my own, but it wasn't mine. It was someone else's. So then I was able to sit with the sadness and meditate for a little while and release it and release it. So we can learn, as we master emotions, our own are ours to master, then we can sometimes be trusted with helping others to transmute their emotions. And we don't necessarily have to be in the room with them or having a conscious interchange with them, but we can release them. And we know this for even people that don't live in a quote unquote spiritual life. We know there are mothers who their child might live around the world on the other side of the globe and sense when something is wrong. Maybe pick up the phone and call that child and find out they're in the hospital or just had an accident or something like that. So we know that we're constantly interacting with fields of individuals' souls, with the souls of our animals. We're interacting with the collective consciousness of our towns, our cities, our nation. Learning how to be aware, what is this emotion I'm feeling, this anger? Is this mine? No. Is it my partner's? No. Is it the political arena? Yes. Okay. And just being aware, like, what are we giving our time to, our energy, our attention? Because the things that we're focusing our time and our energy and attention are the fields with which we are choosing to interact. And so we can pick up emotional states from those interactions and make them our own. And maybe we don't want to make them our own.
Mm.
So emotions that's such a beautiful topic, but ultimately, to answer your question in a really practical fashion, whatever I'm feeling, especially if it's a negative emotion, the first step is to allow myself to feel it, to understand it's just an energy, and energies come and energies go. So I allow it and I don't judge it. So it's kind of like if it was a beautiful summer day and a storm came up, a terrible storm, I wouldn't judge that. I just know that's just what happens. That's the weather. You know, the sun was out, it was beautiful. There's a storm. Okay, no big deal. The storm will pass. And then I'll go back outside in the sun. So we have to learn to do this with our emotions. Allow ourselves to be angry, allow ourselves to be sad, allow ourselves to feel whatever we're feeling and not judge it at all. And just know it's a storm. It's an energy. It's passing through our experience, and whatever comes will also go. And I don't need to have a thought about it. I don't need to fix it. I don't need to stop it. I let it flow and be what it is. And just love myself and accept myself, particularly in the more, for each of us, I think in a spiritual walk, as we're growing towards enlightenment, we still have old stuff, patterns, things that show up. Maybe it's anger, maybe it's sadness, frustration. It's a little different for each of us. Judah's taught us these are like we all have an emotional set point. This is like the set point on our thermostat. Yeah. So we put it, there's that favorite temperature that we like, so that our egos have a set point. My ego set point was sadness. So whatever happened in my life, I would tend to always gravitate back to that set point of sadness. I might get that great new job or finish my master's degree or have another baby, and I could feel joyful and happy for a time, but then my ego would just kind of pull me back down to that emotional set point of sad. And there I would find myself again. So I learned to just be okay with where I'm at. And over time, my emotional set point began to elevate and elevate and elevate. So that's a lot of the broad kind of long-term work that we love to do with people on the Judah channel, is learn how to elevate the floor of your conscious and the ceiling of your consciousness. And I found that that's one of the big attractions to channeling, I think, is that some of the beings that are channeled are very high in their vibrational quality. So if for any of your viewers that are familiar with Dr. Hawkins' work in consciousness, you know, 0 being the lowest level of consciousness, despair, desperation, 1,000 being full enlightenment, you know, the level of Jesus and the Buddha and the masters. Judah's level of consciousness is in the 5,000 range. So the effect of when you sit in the presence of these angels and these higher vibrational beings, they're just raised. It's like getting on an elevator and you just feel your emotional state even get lighter and brighter and less burdened. And you can feel yourself dropping those lower emotions. And so I believe that's a lot of why people come around to listen to channeling, because they sense, either consciously or unconsciously, that the vibration is transformative for them. And it is. If you stick around long enough, it is really life-changing.
I would be very curious to know, do they mention specific dates and times, and will they say things that are scary?
Predictive.
Yeah.
Judah does not, and I'd love to speak to this. It's a beautiful question. Every now and then, Judah will say something predictive for someone, but it's more in the vein of opening their mind to the possibilities, to what's possible for them. But it's always in a positive spectrum, almost always. And there have been times where Judah has told me things about the future, and I don't publish those. And the reason I don't publish them is because, well, first of all, if I'm shown something of a negative nature, which is very rare that that happens, but it does happen occasionally, it's my understanding that that is for me to pray and hold a space for something different to be created. So if Judah tells me this is like a likely possibility in the future and it's of a negative track or orientation, I understand that it's for me as a creator to change that, to transmute the course of that. And I don't share those things on purpose, because I know that where we put our time, energy, and attention, we create more of that. So I'll give you an example. And this is, you can research this, it's out there on the web. In the 80s, there was a terrible earthquake in Mexico City, and about 5,000 people died. And then in many years, 35 years actually, exactly to the day, in 2017, the people of Mexico City were coming together to memorialize the 5,000 that had died, to honor them, remember them, to do earthquake drills all over the city to prepare for possible future disasters of a similar nature. So the whole city was giving on that day, 35 years later, their time, energy, and attention to focus on the earthquake, the one that had happened in the past and the ones that could potentially happen in the future. And guess what happened on that day?
There was an
The
earthquake.
earthquake.
Another earthquake. And several hundred people died. So there, when I hear different predictive things, you know, I understand that there are many different possibilities of things that can happen in the future, but my specific mandate from my higher self, from Source, and from Judah is to not give my attention to the negative, because in that I am creating more of that. And I was working with a beautiful young woman from Okinawa yesterday who had heard a channeler somewhere predicting the destruction of the island of Japan. She was asking me, should she move? I asked her why did she want to move? Did she love where she was? Like, oh no, I love where I live. I love where I live. I said, so why would you want to consider moving? And she told me about this that she had heard this predictive message. And so I shared some of this philosophy that I'm sharing with you, but it's sad for me to see people kind of overcome by fear because of things that are being said out there. I'll give you another example. There's a lot of talk out there about, the systems need to collapse. Judah's never said that to me personally. Is that a possibility? Maybe. The more attention we give to that, the more likely that becomes. So just looking at one facet of that, for instance, there's can be a lot of talk about the financial system collapsing. Personally, my husband and I have an enormous amount of abundance and wealth. Some of it's earned, some of it's not. Some of it seems to come through attraction and grace. And last year, we invested a lot of money with a gentleman that came our way, and we checked in with our angels and guides about it and felt really great about it. And all year long in an election year, we earned 24% on all of our investments. So for me personally, my desire would be more that beautiful, conscious people would arise in the financial sector that that have love and peace and joy in their center, and respect the earth and respect the effort that people put into the money they earn. They're these beautiful people that are listening, that go to their jobs, they are literally investing their life force energy to provide for their families. So I want there to be conscious bankers that acknowledge that and treasure that and want to grow wealth for people. I don't want to see anybody harmed by a collapse. So that's just one example, and I'm happy to answer more about that if there's anything else that comes up.
No, I love that. I mean, the one thing that I was thinking was just, do they have any specific messages for us personally? Like, do they
For
do
you?
that? Like, would they do that? Like, as they're with you, are they saying anything about me? Or
Absolutely.
do they
I
do
can
that?
tap in and ask. I can ask. Oh, well, first I feel a lot of heat coming into my heart. That's beautiful. Let me ask. Yes, dear Kyle, we would love to speak to the both of you. And what we will tell you what we see. We see big open hearts, a curiosity about spiritual life that is innocent and childlike and so pure in its desire. And we see you operating in oneness in this. You are separate in the sense that you have your own unique perspectives, but you are able to merge together in a unity of heart that is so lovely. And you're a good balance and strength for one another. And so we want to encourage you to play in the field. We want to say this to you as well, my dear. So there are going to be many people that come before you and leave, come and go, and you will hear so many different ideas. And this is what we want you to know about it. This for you is like playing on the beach and building sand castles. Build them as grand and as beautiful and as glorious as you want, but knowing that the tide will come in and these things will be washed back out to shore. Yes, and you will begin again. Yes, and build what you want. And it's all for play and it's all for fun. And the tide will come and will wash it all away. Yes. And so we want you to know is that let it be play. Don't be too serious about anything. Whatever is said, let it light you up and energize you, and let it be washed away even that then. And each day when a child plays on the sand, they must come back and begin again the next day. And so whatever is said to you through our voice or any other voice, receive it with your open, playful curiosity, and then let it go. Let it go. And don't dwell on it. Don't hold on to it to the next day. Begin again the next day. Every word that is spoken to you that is meant to bring life and vitality and direction to you, it will come. And then the next day, there will be a new and fresh word. No need to immortalize, memorialize, build a temple around anything that is shared. Yes? Does this make sense to you?
Mhm.
And another way this is said is in the story of the ancient Hebrew scripture of the manna that fell from heaven. Every day, the heavens sent this beautiful, sweet bread. And all that was needed was to walk out and gather up this beautiful, sweet bread and eat it and enjoy it and be filled by it and be nourished by it. For you see, in this manna, this heavenly bread that fell every single day, there was the perfect nourishment for the body in that. But there was a caveat, my dear, and the caveat was this, that the next day, if they held on to all the abundance, there was such an abundance every day of this heavenly bread, this heavenly substance. But if they kept it, if they hoarded it, if they tried to hold on to it or preserve it or bake it into another thing or whatever they tried to do with it, it would be rotten the next day. So this is what we would say to you, my dear. Whatever is said to you when people come in front of you, create a space for it. If you can, if it nourishes you, take it in, let it fill you. And if it doesn't, let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go. And the next day, there will be a new truth, new bread, new fresh bread from heaven for you that will fill you. It will be abundant and give you life. No need to hold on to anything or think about tomorrow or the next day or the next. For the Christ said it this way, every day has enough troubles of its own. So be with the day and what it presents, and no thought is needed for tomorrow.
Mm,
I
love
love
that.
that.
Whoa.
Whoa. We must be connected. I would love to close with, is there a message for all of the hearts out there that are listening to this?
No, yeah, I just feel such heat in my heart. Mm, mm. Yes. What we want to tell you, my dears, is this. You are love. You are only love. That is all that you are. Anything that expresses itself through your thoughts, your emotions, your actions, your body, that is not love, is not you. It is the ego, and it is not who you are. It is simply a layer of paint painted upon the beautiful masterpiece that you are. You see, underneath those things, you there are the master, you are the masterpiece of God, masterpiece of God. You are only love, you are only purity, you are only goodness and life and joy. Whatever expresses itself through you that is not in alignment with that, know only this, that it only represents a hurt, a pain in you from before, and that is okay because you are the fullness of who you are supposed to be at this moment in time. There is nothing wrong with you. You are not broken and there's nothing to be fixed. You are beautiful and precious. And so when things present themselves through you or to you or around you that is not what you want, meet them with your acceptance, meet them with forgiveness, meet them with understanding. And as you do that, as you embrace the parts of you that are the more unseemly parts, the ones that you wish to divorce yourself from or be rid of or be separate from, as you embrace them as you would a sad or frightened child, and you give them your full and complete acceptance, then you will find these ego parts. You will find them integrating back into your higher self. You will find them becoming calmer, more relaxed, and subsiding in the background and becoming more subservient to and surrendered to your higher self. And mastering the self is all that is here. It is the only task, my dears. It is the only task that will matter when you cross over. And this mastery comes through total love and forgiveness, which is the cancellation and the permanent removal of all karma. And it is the death of the ego as well. Keep coming back to visit this beautiful couple with their loving hearts, for they will guide you with not just love, but wisdom as well. and you can grow along with them and grow into a tall and mighty oak tree that is not easily shaken by the storms of life, that is firmly rooted. Good.
Let's go.
I love that.
That's
I
beautiful.
really, really appreciated your values, and it's very much, it's in alignment with the conversation that we had today. I love that. I love exactly what you were talking about, that you, even just that you rarely get a message, but that you see it as a possibility and an opportunity to pray. I just
Mhm.
think you have a lot of integrity as a channel, and I really appreciated talking to you today.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a joy to be here.
How
Thanks,
can we
Susan.
support you, and how can anyone listening support you?
Oh, well, they can just visit us at thejudahchannel.com, and we've got lots of free offerings and anything we can do to serve on the journey. We've got things in place to just take you where you are and take you all the way to the door of your enlightenment experience. And it happens for people all the time. We work with people that get into direct relationship with their angels and learn how to integrate that into their life. And we'd love to support you in any way we can.
Wow. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. This was lovely, and I hope that we talk again.
Yeah, it was awesome meeting you, Angie. And
Thank you.
your angels.
And your angels.
Yes.
Angie and her
Angels.
angels.
We love you too, angels.
Thank you.
So we're sending love to everybody, and
Bye,
we'll see you
everybody.
next time.